What's going on, everybody? My name is Eason. Welcome back to another video. And today we're going to get into culture patterns. So, in the last few videos, we've introduced ourselves to culture, what makes up culture. We familiarize ourselves with cultural landscapes and how culture characteristics affect that in a place. So now we're going to look at patterns on cultures and still use our concept of the cultural landscape. So, cultural practices vary across geographical locations because of physical geography and available resources, and these shape the global cultural landscape. Now, PSO3, what is that? This is something I took exactly from the AP Human Geography course and exam description. So, this is just a quote that's from there and a standard, basically, of what you need to know. And I just kind of threw that in there because you need to know it. So, let's look at some cultural patterns, and we'll look at this one. So, we can see here a few things. So, the first thing we see, if I can draw, is we see rice. This is actually rice production in a country, just so you know. I may not be able to tell that. But look at this style of farming. This is terrace farming, where they farm on the hillsides. They kind of even it out and farm on it because it's a hilly area, but they still need to farm to support the population. So they make the hills go kind of like in steps. So that's kind of cool as well. And this is kind of intensive farming as well. They're using their hands, so it's not much mechanization or technology that they're using. So it's pretty labor intensive. So we could see that reflected in agriculture, and then high agriculture will lead to population growth. We see that with the demographic transition model. Now, what about as development goes on? So we see agriculture using more technology, but we also see placelessness occur. So what does this word placelessness mean? So this basically just means that a place is losing its unique characteristics. And we can see here, these houses or townhomes, I think that's what they are not really unique because they have the same exact style, the same exact architecture, and they are in the same exact place. There's literally like the same bush that's the same like two little shrubs across all the houses. So it's not really unique. And as countries develop, this starts to occur, maybe because it is cheap or it looks nice at first, or people just want house equality or something like that. So that's why this occurs, and it happens primarily more in developed countries because of the resources and, of course, the finances as well. So, yeah. Then there's also place making. So, what is place making exactly? It's basically just the design and use of public spaces in society. This person kind of looks like Dora. I'm just pointing that out. So here we can see a public space, kind of like a green belt in a city, kind of more land, less buildings. We can see the tall buildings here. So we are in an urban environment. So we are in a developed place. This is actually America. Just so you know. But they're using these public spaces to preserve some environment, give children a place to play, give people to hang out. Maybe there's less pollution and stuff. So that's what placemaking in this case is used for. Placemaking in other cases can be used to build more buildings or build more homes, but not in this case. So yeah. Then there's also sense of place. And sense of place is basically just the feeling you get when you are in a place. So in New York City, some people are from New York City, which is in the image, and they could feel at home in their place. While some people go to New York City and think, ew, this is loud and noisy. I don't like it. They're uncomfortable. That is sense of place. And it can vary from person to person. It is vernacular. The feeling that you get in school that you are at jail, that is sense of place as well. People who like being at school don't really get that. They feel maybe at home or just very comfortable. And that's their sense of place at school. Now, there are various forces that can divide people in a society. These are known as centrifugal or centrifugal, as I'll refer to them, forces. And I'll say centrifugal so you don't get mixed up with the next term, which sounds very, very similar. So, what are some negative forces in New York City that could divide people? Well, it could be the diversity of people. So there's various amounts of people in New York City of various kinds and cultures. So this could lead to tensions between those cultures. Queens, New York is primarily African American or has a high African American population compared to other regions. Maybe that place wants to have different policies, or just the way society is run in the sense of place is different. Some people can feel very uncomfortable in various places of New York, and that can be a centrifugal force. And like I said earlier, diversity can divide people because of various differences between them, giving them tension. So language differences and language barriers can make languages hard to learn, or you might have to learn multiple languages to do something, and that can divide people. In Quebec, Canada, there are signs in French and English. Language differences could also be a barrier or just a negative force, because what language would these people put their signs in, or put their toponyms in, or what language is the television in, or the government communicates with the people in. And this can also lead to creolization, so languages could often die out or mix with current ones. Then there's religious differences. Certain religions have different views, different taboos. Hindus don't necessarily eat beef. However, Christians don't really have anything against beef. So this could also lead to ethnocentrism. Maybe people in America, where they coexist with Hindus and Christians, might think Hindus are weird for not liking hamburgers or just not eating steak and stuff. So religious differences can cause division. Maybe some religions want autonomy or just a role in government, and they aren't getting that. And various ethnic groups, religions, or nations, want autonomy. So they may want a role in government. Maybe they want to do the government in a certain way that majority of the people don't, or another culture doesn't. That can lead to various issues. We're going to learn about the effects of this in Unit 4. There could be also a desire for a nation state, where a nation wants their own state or their own country with defined borders, spatial extent, population, and sovereignty. Let's look here at uneven development. This is a really clear image showing uneven development in society. We see this very urbanized. We see an urbanized society, but we see the left here is kind of poor, and the right is more wealthy. And this can divide people, because some people may be jealous of the wealthy people and rob them, or the wealthy people could frown upon the poor people. So that can divide people. Maybe they want life to be a certain way. Wealthy people can maybe support a political party in this country over the non-wealthy people who support another political party or a different person that is in government. Now, the opposite of centrifugal forces are centripetal forces. Centripetal sounds similar. That's why I'm saying centrifugal. But then there are centripetal forces, and these are the opposite. They're positive forces that can unify people. So in New York City, what are some centripetal forces? There's common history. So New York was a colonized country. There, all of New York was common history. But there's primarily one language, and that's English. English is used kind of the most. There are different enclaves in New York. So Chinatown, they speak Mandarin. So if you speak Mandarin, go to Chinatown. There's economic opportunities in various fields. So the arts is a big one. There's also economics and business. You can be an entrepreneur. There's so much you can do in New York. And that kind of unifies people for economic opportunities. And then the dominant religion in New York is Christianity. I think Catholic is the denomination or branch that is most prominent, with like 60%. So that's a pretty high amount of people in there that are Catholic in New York. So these all kind of unify the people. And that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. There's an FRQ on the screen if you want to do it. There's some suggested videos on the screen if you want to watch those. And yeah, please like, subscribe. It really does help me out, and it's free. So yeah, that helps me out. Leave a comment, criticism. I love criticism. I got more APHUG videos. Want to check those out, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.